Yup, I told you guys this game was gonna be great. When it was announced, I said it'd be great. When I played the demo, I said it'd be great, and absolutely nobody disagreed with me, but I'm still gonna come in here with the energy of somebody who won an argument. One thing I will say as a warning to people who haven't bought this game yet, don't go for the Switch version. As a lot of you know, I'm moving soon, T-minus 2 days as of this video, so I wanted something that could keep playing on the road, and I thought, screw it, I'll get Cult of the Lamb on Switch. No, don't Cult of the Lamb on Switch. Cult of the Lamb on Switch, not good. It's not unplayable, and if it is your only means of playing it, I'd still recommend it because it's a good game regardless, but if you're wondering whether the advantage of playing it portable is worth it over having it on your computer or something, I don't think so. Obviously the visuals won't be as sharp, that's kind of a given, but more importantly the performance on Switch isn't great, and the bugs that it does have seem to be the most apparent on this system. I wish I had some crisper footage to give you guys, especially during combat, but this is the best I can do. Occasionally my Switch would just sputter out frames like it was out of breath for no reason, not just when a lot of stuff's happening on screen, but just because it felt like it. And I ran into two major bugs amongst some smaller ones that are the most prevalent on Switch. One where I just get stuck after a ritual and couldn't move no matter how many times I reloaded, which was just fixed the next day, I don't know how. And one where I couldn't leave my base until I completed a ritual for a quest line, even though I'd been able to leave during it twice already with no issue, but this time it just didn't let me. I kinda lucked out that I had resources to keep my flock going and actually perform the ritual after the cooldown, because otherwise I would have had to restart the game like some people were forced to do. These are potentially game-breaking bugs, and most people commenting that they had these issues said they were on Switch, so I thought I'd get that out of the way first. Really the only other problems with Cult of the Lamb are that its initial randomization for runs can sometimes impact your success way too much. Get the wrong starting weapon and you're a little bit screwed, though that's mainly early in the game. And its combat doesn't have the most depth, but really in the grand scheme of things those are largely non-issues, and this game is an absolute home run. Cult of the Lamb is a game filled with cute woodland creatures, really tough moral decisions, and a Walter White-esque slow descent into madness as you're consumed by your darker half to execute increasingly sinister plots. As demonstrated by this scene where Satan asks you to be his disciple, and then for the rest of the game, you're Satan's disciple. Wait, hold on, did I read that right? Yeah, no, you're turned into a bloodthirsty demon preacher about 12 seconds in. I love that this is both a roguelite where the meta progression is the true focus, and a base building game that throws enough action and fun twists to keep you truly on edge at all times. If you're a fan of either one of these genres, the game's so well built that you'll likely fall in love with the other half just as much. I've never really been into base building, for example, but I was happily spending 3 times as much time with my flock as I was going out and fighting monsters. Fighting those monsters is still a good ass time though. You're limited to just a basic attack button, a special attack that uses up a meter which you refill through kills, and a 94-yard barrel roll, but while that means that things can get a bit mashy and enemy attacks aren't exactly challenging at a glance, the impact and knockback of attacks combined with low HP and limited special usage means the combat feels crunchy, you can't get too greedy, and you need to be at least somewhat strategic. And that's more than enough to carry these short runs, especially when you start stacking up effects and abilities or improving your weaponry in general. It is a bit of a bummer that the Switch version had a hard time keeping up, but the underlying enjoyment levels weren't compromised. Upgrades are selected through these tarot cards that appear during your runs, and you unlock more possible options for cards by buying them at vendors or through completing certain events or by talking to NPCs, all of which are colorful and well designed and talk like Cardi B on Xanax. The bosses and mini-bosses remind me a lot of the grandfather of modern roguelikes, Binding of Isaac, where their fairly understandable movesets can be dealt with easily if you pull off a strong run, but the real enjoyment comes from the weird and twisted designs. Jutting out of the flat landscapes like one of those kids' pop-up books, this is an alternate dimension where the very hungry caterpillar was written by a guy on bath salts. Selecting different paths grants you different rewards, but sometimes the most fruitful is also the longest and most dangerous, and unlike other games where a failed run means, oh well, we'll get him next time, here failure feels genuinely stressful because your flock will think less of you, you'll miss out on a lot of resources that you may need to improve it, and you string a couple of those L's together and you may be looking at a mutiny. Success and failure have a significant impact outside of personal fulfillment, which creates a really engaging dungeon crawling loop. Speaking of your flock though, the systems in place to build your cult are incredible. You can name any character anything, give them a whole bunch of forms that you unlock, make them super distinct. You can make a very diverse Satan worshipping army here, or you know, you can do what I did. Alright, your name will be Chumbo, you are a pig, and bro, what is this weak-ass scouting report? What kind of operation do you think we're running here? Best I can do is a 10-day contract. Don't worry, I just sent him to the G League. Alright, so far I've made all of my followers the pig character, and I've named all of them Chumbo. Okay, just hold on. Which one was the one that I can't remember which Chumbo I assigned to what tab? Chumbo 6, Chumbo 9, Chumbo 27. I'm beginning to think I've made a huge mistake. But luckily, as hard as I was trying to turn my cult into this amorphous glob free of individualism or ethnic diversity, I was still able to work towards a base that felt alive through no effort of my own. The game's just really great at ensuring its systems go far beyond the surface level. You're able to expand by building your followers' devotion, which is obtained through their prayers at a shrine. Everything you unlock has a practical use, and even when the game could have gone the lazier route and said gain a general, faceless upgrade that makes your flock work a bit harder, it decides instead to favor personality and consistency. Plant down these propaganda speakers that convince your flock to hustle when within a certain distance. It's the same end goal, but conveyed through something tangible. It's one of those X factors that doesn't get as much attention, but when a game makes an effort to commit to its themes like this, it makes all the difference. There's also a very wide range of skill trees and routes to upgrade your base and improve your adventuring, which could easily get confusing if Cult of the Lamb didn't section them off and make it super clear how to work towards everything through different actions. I've seen games with a 10th as many upgrades and a 15th as many systems, which I completely forget about or don't want to interact with because the game's UI is trash or its skill trees feel bloated with too many long descriptions. This is something that I haven't seen talked about enough, and it's really key to the experience. Cult of the Lamb's structure is incredibly well tuned. It helps that the writing is so goofy and the idea is so ridiculous that you actually want to read whatever instructions or tutorials you're being given. Sometimes they're so matter of fact about these gruesome actions that it's impossible not to be entertained, like, after slaying a non-believer, desecrate their bodies and use them to perform dark rituals. I don't know about you, but any game that makes me genuinely think, okay, I'll indoctrinate this little bunny into my cult in a second, but first I need to desecrate these remains real quick, is doing something right. We're really only scratching the surface of what's offered in this game though. Like, there's a dice game which is ridiculously easy to learn and would be super fun if the guy that you played against wasn't always cheating. Somehow this computer is playing with loaded dice, I'm sure of it. Look at his numbers. Look at my numbers. How is this man a 10th of the difficulty bar? The only thing I learned from this game is that gambling is fun, but I am bad at it. But outside of that, you got fishing mini games, you got little side quests, these evil bug demons get pissed off at you periodically and starve members of your flock. You clean up poop, convince your people that grass is delicious and sacrifice is actually a good thing. You can convert members into demons that help you on your missions in various ways, ascend followers into the promised land. Oh, that stuff? That's just, ascension juice. You can perform bonfire rituals, chop up old dead followers in the street with a smile, hold funerals, send out missionaries on dangerous crusades for rewards, take confessions, tend to farms, bribe people into liking you, dance with them, offer items to your god for riches, declare new doctrines for your flock to follow, unlock and equip different outfits that give you buffs and debuffs, straight up buy people from spiders, and so much more. Every 20 minutes there's a new mechanic, but it all flows together. I'm absolutely astonished with how much this game has to offer, and full disclosure, I'm only like halfway through it. I've still got a lot more to find. Really, Cult of the Lamb is all about goofy stories and ridiculous situations. At all times, you're kind of just enjoying the silliness in the midst of the incredibly balanced experience. Whether it's by generally playing along with the game systems, like how I canonically made my lamb exclusively into MILFs, I refused to marry anyone who didn't require the support of a cane to stand up, or how I eventually ditched the Chumbo naming system so I could throw out classics like A Kid in Africa is Starving, or by witnessing situations that are so ridiculous that you can't help but expand on their backstories. Boo, he looks different. Kill him. Eat his flesh. Racism doctrine, wow, just like a real religion. And of course the majority of fun just comes with the colorful characters and the dark humor, like this fisherman who's hiding the fact that he's actually also a fish. He's got a fake mustache and everything. This crazy lighthouse dude who bursts into rage randomly and has a bunch of followers himself with a sick ass theme song. It feels like the Church of Kanye West. The fact that your followers cheer when you show them the beating heart you just ripped out of a heretic's body, and how they'll beg you to feed you some weird stuff. Like one dude kept wanting to feed another dude poop, and the second time it happened, I caught the guy mid-vomit and he was like, damn dude, you guys are wild, you got me again, and then proceeded to go finish throwing up. And another time, one of these little freaks asked if they could eat the chopped up remains of the guy I just hentied to death. These dudes are absolute savages. And with all those different means of enjoying the little moments amidst the larger systems that build off each other so well, Cult of the Lamb is able to make a game that's expertly crafted and truly one of a kind. I genuinely can't remember the last time a roguelite had this much mainstream appeal and yet veered this far from the established formula. You usually get one or the other, and for that alone, Cult of the Lamb is one of my favorite games of the year. Now let's close out this video with a little snippet of the OST, which I can only describe as Gospel Forest Cult Trap.